powerful and impactful work, according to the gallery owner who will sell Hunter Biden's art this fall. Art critics aren't so sure.
Well, it's not as bad as I might have thought.
Others have been tougher, one calling it hotel art. But the gallery says it values some of the first-time artist paintings up to $500,000.
You could get a work by Matisse or Degas for a similar amount of money.
How much of that is the name?
Almost all of it, I'd say.
The sale triggering criticism of a White House that touts itself as the most ethical administration in history.
I think the right thing to do would have been for White House ethics officials to try to talk the president into begging his son not to go through with this sale.
Walter Schaub was director of government ethics under President Obama.
Don't the children of presidents have the right to pursue a career?
The children of presidents have the absolute right to pursue a career, but as citizens of this country, they really have a moral and ethical duty not to trade on their parents' public service.
There is also concern that someone might try to gain influence with the president by buying his son's art.
I can tell you that after careful consideration, a system has been established that allows for Hunter Biden to work in his profession within reasonable safeguards.
First reported by the Washington Post, the administration has made an agreement with the gallery not to reveal buyers' names to anyone, including Hunter Biden or the White House.
This is an amateur mistake because there's no way to control what the purchasers do. They can go out and tell the world that they bought this art.
Hunter Biden has previously come under fire, including for taking a lucrative board position at Ukrainian gas company Burisma, while his father was VP. But he is also not alone. Past presidents' children, including the Trumps, have raised ethics concerns. In this case, experts say more transparency would help.
The American people deserve the opportunity to be able to track whether or not these purchasers are getting preferential access to government.
Not saying who is buying the art, Schaub says, is the problem. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.